There's something people don't tell you about getting older. The danger isn't strangers hurting you. It's realizing one day that someone sitting at your dinner table has quietly decided you no longer belong there. My son thought I had agreed to leave. My daughter-in-law made sure of that. What she didn't know was that 11 days earlier, standing in my own kitchen in Columbus, Ohio, I had recorded every second of the conversation she was counting on nobody hearing. And when the truth finally came out, nobody at that table walked away unchanged. Before we get into it, tell me where you're watching from and what time it is where you are right now. I read those comments more than you probably think. And if stories about family betrayal and hard-earned lessons mean something to you, consider subscribing. Stay with me here. This one took years to build and 11 minutes to break apart. People imagine betrayal arrives like a thunderstorm. Loud, sudden, impossible to miss. Truth is, most betrayals walk into your life wearing house slippers. My name is Marcus Washington. I'm 68 years old, widowed 7 years, retired 5, and according to my granddaughter, Ava, too old to understand TikTok but young enough to make good pancakes. I'll take that. I used to work as a legal transcription specialist for Franklin County in Columbus, Ohio. 36 years sitting in courtrooms listening to people swear they were telling the truth while quietly burying it under half-finished sentences and convenient memory lapses. You spend enough years around courtrooms, you learn something. People don't usually lie with their words. They lie with timing, with omissions, with confidence. And eventually, if you stay quiet long enough, they tell on themselves. But back then, I wasn't thinking about any of that. Back then, I was just trying to survive being alone. My wife, Eleanor, died 7 years earlier. Pancreatic cancer. 14 months from diagnosis to funeral. 43 years married. Gone. People ask if grief gets easier. No, it gets quieter. There's a difference. You stop reaching for your phone to call them. You stop expecting their car in the driveway. You stop setting 2 coffee cups out in the morning. But every once in a while, walking through a grocery store or folding laundry or hearing an old song from 1984, grief taps you on the shoulder and reminds you it still knows where you live. Eleanor used to laugh when I organized paperwork alphabetically. She said I treated life like a courthouse filing cabinet. Maybe she was right. The year after she died, I stayed inside too much. My son Jordan noticed. Jordan Washington. 42. HVAC engineer. Good man. Hard worker. The kind of guy who answered work emails during Thanksgiving dinner because he genuinely believed the world would collapse if commercial heating systems failed. He lived in Dublin outside Columbus. Nice neighborhood. 2-story brick house. Blue shutters. Basketball hoop above the garage. A golden retriever named Cooper, who shed enough fur every spring to build another dog. Jordan kept asking, "Dad, why don't you move in with us for a while?" I kept saying no. Then winter hit. Ohio winter. Gray skies. Cold that crawls into your joints and negotiates permanent residency. One Tuesday evening, Jordan showed up at my house carrying takeout from City Barbecue and wearing that expression children get when they think they're being subtle. "Dad." "No." "You don't even know what I'm asking." "I know your face." "Move in." "No." "Temporarily." "No." "Ava misses you." That one landed. Low blow, professional level. Ava Washington, 9 years old. Smart enough to beat me at board games. Kind enough to pretend she didn't. "Grandpa," she'd tell me, "you have wisdom." Which I eventually realized meant, you lose slowly. 3 weeks later, I moved in. Just temporary. That was the agreement. I brought clothes, books, my old leather recliner, 3 framed photos of Eleanor, and enough coffee supplies to survive an apocalypse. I stayed in the guest bedroom at the end of the upstairs hallway. Small room, queen bed, blue walls, window facing maple trees. Peaceful. At first it worked. Really worked. I contributed. $950 every month. Not because Jordan asked, because dignity matters. I paid for groceries sometimes, covered Ava's school supplies once, bought Cooper expensive dog food after Danielle insisted he suddenly had digestive sensitivity. That dog ate socks, But apparently chicken-based food was where we drew nutritional standards. Danielle? My daughter-in-law. Danielle Washington. 40 years old. Interior design consultant trying to build an online business. Creative, driven, sharp. The kind of person who color-coded kitchen containers. At first, Danielle treated me wonderfully. No exaggeration. She'd ask if I needed anything. Bought my preferred coffee beans once, dark roast. Black, no sugar. Remembered details. Always a good sign. Marcus, she'd say, you don't have to do dishes. I'd do them anyway. I fixed things around the house, loose cabinet hinge, bathroom faucet, garage sensor. Jordan joked I turned retirement into unpaid maintenance work. Fair criticism. Saturday mornings, Ava and I made pancakes. Terrible pancakes. Burned edges. Too much cinnamon. One memorable disaster involving chocolate chips and what I later discovered was expired baking powder. Ava still ate them. Grandpa, she'd say carefully, chewing, these are creative. Her mother's vocabulary. Not subtle. One afternoon, Ava came downstairs wearing my old Ohio State hoodie, sleeves hanging past her hands. Look, Grandpa. You stole my sweatshirt. I inherited it. You're 9. I'm planning ahead. You know that laugh older people make, the real one, the one that catches you off guard. That happened a lot back then. Enough that I started thinking maybe loneliness had finally loosened its grip. Maybe life had surprised me. Again. Danielle built her online interior design business slowly. Live stream consultations, social media videos, mood boards, color palettes, words like aesthetic alignment that sounded vaguely illegal to someone my age. I'd tease her. So, people pay you to tell them where couches go. Marcus, she'd sigh. Professional couches. Fair enough. Jordan worked long hours, left around 7:10 every morning, usually home after 6, some weeks later. Danielle handled more of the house. I respected that. You don't move into someone else's space and start acting like management. I knew boundaries, or thought I did. The changes started small. Small enough you could explain them away. Danielle stopped lingering during conversations. Started answering distracted. Phone always nearby. Eyes somewhere else. Nothing dramatic. Just enough. One evening I came downstairs around 9:30. TV volume low. Baseball game on. Danielle walked through the living room, paused, looked toward my hallway, then upstairs. Thinking. Calculating. I noticed. Courtroom habits. People reveal themselves in silence. A week later, she stood near the kitchen island, drinking sparkling water. Casual voice. Too casual. Marcus? Yeah. Do you ever think about downsizing eventually? I smiled. Danielle, I'm 68, not 98. She laughed. Little too fast. Of course. Nothing else. Conversation over. But something shifted. Tiny. Almost invisible. Like hearing one loose board creak in a house you've lived inside for years. You don't panic. Not yet. But you remember where it was. Because something underneath it moved. And 3 weeks later, standing in my upstairs bedroom doorway, Danielle said 6 words that made me realize I wasn't imagining things. This room has so much potential. I laughed. I shouldn't have laughed. This room has so much potential. Funny thing about experience. People think wisdom means knowing exactly what something means the moment it happens. It doesn't. Wisdom usually sounds more like, that felt strange. Then 3 weeks later. Oh. The day Danielle said that she was standing in my doorway holding an iPad and wearing gray leggings and an oversized cream sweater that probably cost more than every shirt in my closet combined. I was sitting in my recliner reading a biography about Theodore Roosevelt. She leaned against the doorframe, studying the room. Not me. The room. You know that look. The one people get when they mentally spend money they don't have yet. This natural lighting is incredible, Danielle said. Appreciate it, I said. The window angle. Very hard-working window. She smiled politely. Didn't laugh. Bad sign. The layout could really work. For sleeping. For other things. There it was. Small. Harmless sounding. But there. I closed my book. Courtroom work taught me something valuable. People reveal priorities accidentally, especially ambitious people, especially impatient people, especially ambitious impatient people. Danielle had become both. At first I told myself I was imagining it. People build stories in their heads. Loneliness makes that worse. Grief, too. You start looking for problems because losing something important teaches your brain disaster can happen anytime. So I ignored it, for a while. Then little things started stacking. Not enough individually, enough together. One Tuesday morning I walked downstairs around 6:40. Jordan had already left for work. Danielle sat at the kitchen island scrolling through her laptop. Coffee beside her. Cooper asleep near the pantry. "Morning," I said. "Morning." I opened the refrigerator, reached for orange juice. Gone. No problem, life happens. I grabbed coffee instead. Then cereal. Gone. Strange. Danielle glanced up. "Oh, we're out?" I reorganized groceries. Into another dimension. No smile. "You eat differently than us." I stared. "I'm sorry." "I made zones." "Zones." "Health organization." "I require government clearance now to access Cheerios." "Nothing. Just typing. You ever tell a joke and realize halfway through you're the only one still standing in it? That." 3 days later, the Wi-Fi password changed. No warning, no text, no note. I stood in the kitchen holding my phone like it had personally betrayed me. "Jordan," I called. He looked up from tying his boots. "Yeah? Internet broken." "Oh." He glanced toward Danielle. She answered. "I updated security." "Wonderful. I'll send it." She didn't. Not that day. Not the next. Jordan eventually texted it to me during his lunch break. I tried ignoring that too. Small things. People have bad weeks. Right then came the television. One Friday, 8:15 p.m. Guardians game. Volume low. Very low. I know because Eleanor used to say I watched baseball like I was hiding evidence. Danielle walked through, paused, looked toward the television, then toward me. "Marcus." "Yeah." "Ava has school." "It's Friday." "Still." "The television volume is 14. So, sound travels." I muted it immediately. "No problem." She nodded. Walked away. You know what bothered me? Not the request, the pattern. Everything suddenly needed adjustment. My coffee cups, my television, my groceries, my schedule, my existence. Stay with me here. Because this matters. People don't usually push you out all at once. They slowly make existing uncomfortable. Enough inconvenience, enough reminders, enough subtle pressure. The goal isn't conflict. The goal is cooperation. Voluntary surrender. I knew that strategy. I'd heard versions of it inside courtrooms for 36 years. Jordan didn't notice. Or maybe he noticed and avoided it. My son hated conflict. Always had. When he was 10 years old, he apologized to a kid who stole his bicycle. True story. Eleanor nearly lost her mind. "Jordan," she'd said, "he took your bike." He seemed upset. You are upset. He probably needed it. Good heart. Dangerous quality sometimes. One Saturday afternoon, Ava and I sat at the dining table building a school project. Solar system model, styrofoam planets, paint everywhere. Glitter somehow involved. I still don't understand glitter. Human civilization invented space travel and artificial intelligence, but failed completely to contain glitter. Danielle walked past, stopped, looked toward my room upstairs. Again, always that room. "Marcus." "Yeah." "Can I ask something?" "Depends." "Do you still have storage at your old house?" "I sold the house." Oh. Pause. Right. Another pause. You kept a lot, though. Memories weigh more than furniture. She stared, smiled politely, walked away. Ava looked up. Grandpa. Yeah. Mom acts weird sometimes. I almost laughed. 9-year-olds, human lie detectors. Everybody acts weird sometimes. Not like this. What do you mean? She keeps measuring your room. I froze. Measuring. Like with her phone. Your mom measures my room. Don't tell her I said. Interesting. Very interesting. That evening I called Leonard Brooks, Lenny. 70 years old, retired electrician. Best friend 41 years. Met him during a courthouse electrical renovation project back in 1988. Lenny believed 3 things solved most problems: coffee, patience, and occasionally yelling. Not always in that order. We met Sunday morning at Tommy's Diner on West Broad Street. Small place, good pancakes, terrible parking. Lenny wore his usual Ohio State jacket, despite temperatures pushing 70. You're thinking too hard, he said. I'm observing. Same thing. No. Marcus. I'm serious. That's the problem, I told him. The room, the Wi-Fi, the groceries, the comments. Lenny listened, didn't interrupt. Important quality. When I finished, he leaned back, took a sip of coffee, then said, Brother. What? People don't steal bedrooms unless they're planning something expensive. I laughed. Harder than I expected. A woman 2 booths away looked annoyed. Worth it. You think I'm imagining things? I asked. No? You think Danielle wants the room. I think Danielle wants what the room represents. Which is? Opportunity. Opportunity. Office space, studio, work area. You're guessing. I know ambitious people. So do I. Lenny pointed his fork at me. No. You know dishonest people. Difference. Fair point. Monday morning I paid attention. Really paid attention. Danielle worked from home. Consultations. Interior design videos. Client calls. I noticed things. Her frustration. Her lack of space. Equipment stacked near the dining room. Lighting stands, samples, shipping boxes. She needed room. Needed. Not wanted. Needed. That changes people. Pressure changes people. Especially people already convinced they deserve more. Wednesday afternoon, Jordan got home early. Rare. I sat outside. Front porch. Reading. He walked over. Sat beside me. Quiet. Too quiet. You okay? I asked. Yeah. No, you're not. He rubbed his forehead. Work. HVAC crisis. Something like that. Then, Danielle feels stressed. There it was. Business stuff. Yeah. Growing pains. Space issues. I looked at him. Slowly. Very slowly. He didn't look back. Courtroom lesson, number 47. People avoid eye contact when protecting 2 truths that don't fit together. I didn't say anything. Didn't need to. Because suddenly, I understood something. Danielle wasn't becoming difficult. Danielle was becoming impatient. And impatient people eventually make mistakes. Big ones. The next mistake happened exactly 12 days later. At 2:13 in the afternoon. Jordan was at work. Ava was at school. And Danielle asked if we could talk. Alone. At 2:13 that Wednesday afternoon, Danielle stood near the kitchen island, holding a white ceramic coffee mug that said, "Good things take time, Funny," because patience was the exact thing she was running out of. Marcus, she said carefully, do you have a minute? You spend 36 years working around legal testimony and court records. You develop instincts. Not magic, patterns, timing, tone. And Danielle had that tone. The one people use when they've already rehearsed the conversation in their head. Sure, I said. I set down the screwdriver I'd been using to tighten a cabinet handle. She smiled. Not warmly, politely. Professional smile. The kind people use before asking for something uncomfortable. Can we sit? We're not negotiating a hostage release, I said. No laugh. Bad sign. Again. The kitchen felt unusually quiet. Dishwasher humming. Refrigerator cycling. Rain tapping lightly against the windows facing the backyard. Ohio weather in March. Cold enough for a jacket. Warm enough to lie to yourself about spring arriving. Danielle sat first, hands folded, phone face down beside her. Prepared. Very prepared. I sat across from her. You know Jordan and I love having you here, she began. There it was. The setup. I need you to understand something. People rarely start difficult conversations with honesty. They start with cushioning. You've helped Ava so much, Danielle continued. Okay. And Jordan loves having you close. Danielle? Yes. I worked in court systems 36 years. She blinked. I'm aware. People usually circle the airport when they don't want to land. Silence. Brief, tight. Then, we've been thinking long-term. Of course, long-term corporate language, human resources vocabulary, never a good sign inside families. Okay. The house feels crowded. I waited. No reaction. Let silence work. Silence makes people uncomfortable. Uncomfortable people fill empty space. The business is growing, she said. I've noticed. I need more room. There it was, finally. Direct enough to touch. Still indirect enough to deny later. What kind of room? I asked. My design work. The dining room setup isn't ideal. You've mentioned. I need an office. Congratulations. She inhaled slowly. Patient, trying. I've been researching solutions. That's responsible. Marcus. Danielle? Another silence. Longer. You've talked before about downsizing. No. Her eyes narrowed slightly. Tiny shift. People hate when reality interrupts rehearsed narratives. You mentioned retirement communities. No. You said no. I thought, no. Stay with me here. This matters. When people start rewriting history in real time, pay attention. They're building a future excuse. Danielle leaned forward. Marcus, we think it might be time. We. Jordan and I. Interesting. Very interesting. You talked to Jordan? Yes. What did Jordan say? He thinks simplifying could be good. Did Jordan say he wants me to move? Pause. There, tiny, important. No, courtroom lesson number 62. Truth often arrives carrying hesitation. Lie arrives sprinting. I see, I said quietly. She relaxed slightly. Thought she regained control. Dangerous mistake. There's a wonderful senior apartment community near Upper Arlington. Senior apartment. Interesting phrase. Not assisted living, not independent housing. Senior apartment, soft language, carefully selected. Danielle? Yes. How old are you? What? Humor me. 40. I'm 68. Okay. I'm retired. Okay. I drive. Yes. I pay $950 a month. Marcus? I cook. Marcus? I help Ava. Marcus? I repair things. Marcus? I'm trying to understand why you're talking like I wandered out of a nursing facility. Silence. Then, that's not fair. No. No. Then explain. She exhaled. Frustration. Pressure building. Good. Not because I wanted conflict, because pressure reveals truth. Phew. You don't understand, she said quietly. Help me. My business matters. I know. I've worked hard. I know. We need more space. We. Yes. Jordan told you to talk to me. Not exactly. Ah, there it was. Not exactly. Translation, no. You know what Jordan said? She asked suddenly. I stayed quiet. He said he hates conflict. My chest tightened, just slightly, not because she was wrong. Because she wasn't. And? I asked. And I think he'd choose peace. Peace. Interesting word. People use beautiful words to hide ugly intentions. Peace means me leaving. Marcus. Answer. Silence. Eventually. Rain outside, getting heavier. Kitchen quieter. Something changing. You ever feel a moment splitting in half while you're standing inside it? That. I've looked at places, Danielle said carefully. I figured. We can help. We. Jordan and I. You picked apartments. Options. Without asking me. We were trying to help. No. Silence. No, I repeated. You were planning. Her jaw tightened. There. Impatience. Finally showing. Marcus, this doesn't have to be difficult. Dangerous sentence. People say that right before asking you to surrender something important. What exactly are you asking? Her eyes moved toward the staircase. Toward my room. My room. Always my room. I think, she said carefully, it would be best if you moved out by next month. There it was. Finally, clear, simple, real funny thing. When truth arrives, it usually sounds smaller than you expected. Not dramatic, not cinematic, just disappointing. I nodded slowly. No, I said. Her expression changed. Tiny. Almost invisible. She expected resistance. Not calm. I understand this is emotional, she said. Emotional. Interesting. Courtroom lesson number 73. People label your reaction emotional when facts don't support theirs. You think this is emotional? I think change is hard. You've had this planned a while. No. Lie, small, clean, immediate. I can help pack, she said. Pack. My chest felt cold. Not angry, cold. 43 years with Eleanor. 7 years learning how to survive losing her. 3 years rebuilding pieces of myself. 1 grandson drawing pictures for me. 1 son I trusted. And somehow I'd become storage standing in the way of a renovation. Jordan knows, I asked quietly. He understands. Not answers. Words. Carefully chosen words. Courtroom language. Dangerous language. I looked toward the counter. My phone sat charging beside the coffee machine. Screen dark, close, very close. Habit saved me. 36 years documenting conversations. 36 years preserving details. 36 years learning memory fails. Records don't. I stood, walked calmly toward the counter, picked up my phone, opened it casually. No rush, no drama. Danielle watched. What are you doing? Nothing. I set the phone down beside me. Face down. 1 motion, natural, simple, recording. Started. 2:24 p.m. Danielle relaxed. Thought nothing changed. Everything changed. Marcus, she said softly. We don't want this becoming uncomfortable. Too late. Far too late. And then Danielle Washington made the mistake greedy people make when they think they've already won. She kept talking. One thing I learned sitting in courtrooms for 36 years. People tell the truth fastest after they think they've established control. Danielle thought she'd established control. That was mistake number 1. Mistake number 2 came 4 minutes later. She leaned back in her chair, arms folded. Voice softer now. Confident. Too confident. You don't understand how hard this has been, she said. I stayed quiet. Silence. Courtroom lesson number 81. Silence makes honest people explain. Silence makes dishonest people volunteer. I've tried, Danielle continued. I really have. I know, I said. No, Marcus, you don't. Interesting. The shift. Not daughter-in-law talking to father-in-law anymore. Pressure talking. Frustration talking. Months of resentment finally getting sunlight. My business matters, she said. I know. No, I mean really matters? I heard you. You know how much money I've lost because I don't have dedicated space. No. Thousands. How many? She hesitated. Good. Specific numbers make lying uncomfortable. 3,000. In total. Maybe more. Maybe. I could be making real money. There. Not we. Not family. Not Jordan. Her. I've worked hard, she said. I believe you. You think I don't. I didn't say that. You judge me. No. You do. Interesting thing about guilt. It accuses first. Rain still hitting the windows. Harder now. Kitchen lights reflecting against wet glass. 2:31 p.m. My phone sat beside me. Quiet. Recording. 11% battery, I noticed. Old habits, details matter. You know what people see? Danielle asked. What? A woman trying to build something. I see that. They don't see sacrifices. I know. I gave up opportunities. Okay. I rearranged my life. Okay. I've been patient. That one nearly got me. Patient. Interesting choice. I looked down, folded my hands, thought about Eleanor, thought about losing her, thought about Ava upstairs drawing dragons on homework assignments when she got bored, thought about Jordan fixing broken air systems at hospitals at 2 a.m. Patient. Right. I need you to understand something, Danielle said. There it was, the phrase people use when they want agreement more than understanding. I'm listening. Jordan won't tell you this. My chest tightened. Just enough. But he feels trapped. Silence, real silence, not strategy silence, pain silence. He told you that. He doesn't want conflict. That's not what I asked. She hesitated. Bad sign. He feels pressure. Pressure. Marcus. No. I leaned forward. Not angry, steady. Pressure because I live here. Pressure because we're trying to move forward. Forward? Yes. What does forward look like? No answer. I waited. She sighed. Business growth. No. Financial stability. No. Marcus. What does forward look like? Her eyes moved. Kitchen, window, stairs, avoiding. Finally space. There, finally. Truth. Small. Ugly. Real. You know what's funny? I said quietly. What? I pay rent. It's not about money. I contribute. It's not about money. I help Ava. It's not about money. I buy groceries. Marcus. So what is it? Silence. Then, the house feels smaller. Smaller. Interesting. My wife Eleanor once told me something. People rarely say exactly what they mean. You listen around words, not through them. The house feels smaller. Translation, your presence feels larger than I want it to. And that hurt. More than I expected. Not because Danielle wanted space, people want things. That's life. No. It hurt because somewhere along the way I'd become square footage, an inconvenience, a room, a calculation. You know what Jordan said last week? Danielle asked. I looked at her. He said Ava depends on you. My expression softened. Couldn't help it. Ava. Always Ava. And, I asked, and that's why this is hard. Hard. Not impossible. Not wrong. Hard. Careful language. Always careful. Courtroom lesson, 94. People soften guilt with vocabulary. Marcus. Yeah? Jordan would never ask you to leave. I said nothing. He loves you. I know. That's why I'm helping. Helping. There it was. The lie she needed most. Not for me, for herself. People can justify almost anything if they rename it. Pressure becomes support. Control becomes care. Self-interest becomes sacrifice. I'm trying to do the difficult thing because Jordan can't, Danielle said quietly. No. No, she wasn't. Jordan hated conflict. True. Jordan avoided hard conversations. Also true. But Danielle wasn't carrying his burden. She was advancing her plan. Difference matters. Big difference. My phone kept recording. 2:36 p.m., 12 minutes. Close. Very close. Then Danielle made the mistake. The big one. The one greedy people make when victory feels certain. "You'll tell Jordan this was your idea." I looked at her. Slowly. "What?" "I think it'll be easier. Easier. For everyone." "Meaning?" "You'll tell him you've been thinking about independent living." Independent living. Interesting. Vocabulary changed. Senior apartment became independent living. Adjust language. Adjust optics. Classic. "No," I said quietly. "Marcus?" "No. He'll take it better." Jordan worries." "So your solution is lying." "It's not lying." "No. No. It absolutely is." Her face changed. Tiny, sharp, first crack. "You don't understand," she said. "No. You don't." "Explain." "I am explaining." "No." I leaned back, watched her. 36 years. Depositions, testimony, interviews. Human beings under pressure. Same patterns. Different clothes. "You already told Jordan something," I said. Silence, tiny but there. "No." "Danielle." "No. You already told him." "I mentioned—" "There it is." She froze. Mistake. Big mistake. "How much?" I asked quietly. "What? How much have you told him?" "I just said you've thought about options." "Lie. Not complete lie. Those are harder, more dangerous." "I never said that." "You implied—" "No." "No." Silence. Rain slowing outside. Dishwasher quiet now, house still, too still. "You know what the problem is?" Danielle said suddenly. Interesting. Emotion entering. Good. Real emotion reveals. "What?" "You think because you're older, you're always right?" "No, not that. Try again." "You think because Jordan loves you, nothing should change?" Closer. Still wrong. "You think helping means ownership?" "There. Interesting." Ownership. I almost smiled. Not because it was funny, because now I understood. Fully. Completely. She thought this was power. Territory. Space. Control. Not family. Not relationships. Not gratitude. Management. Optimization. Efficiency. My room had become inefficient. My presence complicated logistics. My existence interrupted plans. And suddenly something inside me became very calm. Not cold. Not angry. Calm. Courtroom lesson 103. Never interrupt someone building their own evidence. "Marcus?" "Yeah." "Please think about it." "I will." "You will?" "Yes." Her shoulders relaxed. Victory, she thought. Dangerous. Very dangerous. I stood, picked up my phone. Screen dark. Recording saved. Duration 11 minutes, 42 seconds. Exactly. I slipped it into my pocket. "Marcus." "Yeah." "You understand why this matters." I looked at her. Really looked. And for the first time since moving into that house, I saw it clearly. Danielle Washington didn't think she was hurting me. She thought she was solving a problem. That somehow made it worse. Much worse. Because selfish people can learn. People convinced they're right. Those people dig deeper. And standing there in that kitchen, I realized something. I wasn't going to argue. I wasn't going to yell. And I definitely wasn't going to tell Jordan. Not yet. Because patience had protected me for 36 years. It was about to protect me one more time. People think restraint feels noble. It doesn't. Most of the time, restraint feels like standing perfectly still while somebody slowly paints over your name. The morning after my conversation with Danielle, I woke up at 5:52. Couldn't sleep. That happens when something heavy moves into your mind and decides it pays rent now. I sat downstairs alone. Dark kitchen. Coffee brewing, rain gone. Ohio sky still gray enough to look unfinished. I pulled out my phone, opened the recording. 11 minutes, 42 seconds. I listened. Not because I needed proof, because pain does strange things. Part of me still wanted to hear something different. A misunderstanding. A missing piece. A softer explanation hiding somewhere between words. There wasn't one. Just Danielle. Careful, controlled, certain. And certainty can become dangerous when people stop questioning themselves. I locked my phone. Put it away. No reaction. No confrontation. Not yet. Patience. That afternoon, I drove my silver Ford F-150 over to Leonard Brooks's place. Lenny lived 15 minutes away in an older neighborhood near Hilliard. Small ranch house, American flag out front, toolbox bigger than most apartment kitchens. Wind chimes, Eleanor once said, sounded haunted. Lenny opened the door before I knocked. "You look terrible." "Good afternoon to you, too." "You sleeping?" "Enough." "Lie." "I learned from professionals." "Coffee." "Please." We sat in his garage. Old habit. Men our age solve problems in garages. Don't ask me why. Something about concrete floors and unnecessary tools makes emotional honesty easier. Lenny handed me coffee. Black, exactly how I liked it. I pulled out my phone, pressed play. He listened. Didn't interrupt. Didn't move. Didn't even sip coffee. 10 minutes later, silence. Long silence. The kind older men understand. Finally, well, brother? Yeah. That's ugly. I know. No. He looked at me. I mean, ugly. I noticed. Jordan, no. No. Why? I need to think. You already thought. No. Marcus. Lenny. Your son deserves truth. He deserves timing, too. Lenny leaned back, crossed his arms. You protecting Jordan? No. Yes. No. Marcus. I said no? You still see him 10 years old. That landed harder than I wanted, because he wasn't wrong. Parents freeze people in time. Jordan still existed in pieces inside my memory. 10-year-old Jordan riding bikes. 16-year-old Jordan learning to drive. 24-year-old Jordan crying after Eleanor got diagnosed. 42-year-old Jordan existed too, but sometimes love struggles with updates. What are you gonna do? Lenny asked. I don't know. That's not true. No. Marcus. I said I don't know. Lenny nodded slowly. Okay. Which meant I disagree, but I love you enough to stop talking. Important friendship skill. I left around noon, stopped at Kroger, bought coffee filters, bananas, dog treats for Cooper. Because apparently emotional devastation doesn't excuse forgetting grocery lists. Life keeps moving. That's one of its more irritating qualities. When I got back, something felt different immediately. You know that feeling, nothing obvious, just wrong. Jordan's truck sat in the driveway. Earlier than normal. Strange. I walked inside. Kitchen quiet, television off. House still, too still. Jordan stood near the sink, hands in pockets. Looking tired, more than tired. Heavy. Hey, I said. Hey. Something wrong. Instantly. Father instinct. Never leaves. You okay? Yeah. Lie. Easy lie. Bad lie. What happened? Nothing. Jordan. Silence. Then, we need to talk. There it was. The sentence nobody enjoys. I set groceries down, slowly. Okay. Danielle stood near the dining room. Phone in hand, watching, not participating, watching. Courtroom lesson 117. People stand differently when they believe evidence favors them. Jordan rubbed his forehead. Avoided eye contact. Dangerous. Always dangerous. Dad, he said quietly. Yeah. I talked to Danielle. My chest tightened. Not surprise, confirmation. You're okay? She said, pause. Too long. Way too long. She said you've been thinking about moving. There it was. Not explosion. Not betrayal. Worse. Disappointment. Quiet. Ordinary. Human disappointment. I looked at Danielle. She didn't look away. Interesting. Very interesting. She said you've mentioned it before, Jordan continued. No anger in his voice. No accusation, just confusion, almost hope. Hope I'd confirm it, make this easy. Dad. I looked at him. Really looked. 42 years old. Working hard, trying, tired. Pulled in directions he didn't understand. And suddenly, I felt tired too. Very tired. Did I tell you that? I asked. Jordan hesitated. No. Did you hear me say it? No. Then why are we having this conversation? Silence. Danielle stepped forward. Marcus. No. First time I'd interrupted her. House went very quiet. Jordan looked uncomfortable immediately. Conflict. He hated conflict. Always had. Dad, he said softly. Danielle said, I know what Danielle said. She thinks. I know what Danielle thinks. Silence. Jordan shifted weight. Classic stress response. Right foot back. Shoulders tighter. Same thing he did before middle school basketball games. You've seemed unhappy, he said quietly. That one hurt. Because it was true. Partly. You think I'm unhappy here? I think... No. You seem... No. What? I'm not unhappy because of age. Silence. I'm unhappy because lately I feel like I'm being managed. Nobody moved. Nobody spoke. Cooper walked through the kitchen carrying a tennis ball, completely unaware human civilization was collapsing near his food bowl. Must be nice. Nobody's managing you, Danielle said. No. No. The Wi-Fi. Silence. The groceries. Silence. The television. Silence. My room. Bigger silence. Jordan slowly looked toward Danielle. Tiny shift. Tiny, but real. Interesting. Very interesting. Dad, Jordan said quietly. Danielle's stressed. Not defense, explanation. Worse. People don't realize that. Explanations hurt differently, because explanations normalize behavior, make it understandable, manageable, forgivable. I know she's stressed. Business stuff, I know. We're trying. We. Yes. There it was again. We. Funny thing about families. Sometimes we means unity. Sometimes we means pressure-wearing teamwork as a costume. I'm not asking you to choose sides, I said quietly. Jordan exhaled. Relief. Immediate. Which told me everything. Because somewhere inside him he thought choosing sides was coming, meaning Danielle already framed the battlefield. Bad. Very bad. Then something small happened. Tiny. But important. Ava walked downstairs. Backpack hanging crooked. Hair messy. 9 years old. Completely unaware adults had spent weeks building emotional landmines. Grandpa. Hey, kid! She ran over. Hugged me. Immediate, automatic, natural, no hesitation. Then she handed me folded paper. I made this. I opened it. Crayon drawing. House, blue roof, stick figures. Jordan, Danielle, Ava, me. 4 people. 1 house. And upstairs drawn carefully my room. Labeled Grandpa's room. My throat tightened instantly. Hard, fast, unexpected. You like it? Ava asked. I swallowed. Yeah. You sure? Yeah? You look weird. I always look weird. No. She smiled. Then pointed. I kept your room. Room, not space, not square footage, not opportunity. Room. Because children understand something adults forget. People aren't furniture. People are home. I folded the paper carefully, put it in my pocket, and for about 3 dangerous seconds I almost pulled out the recording. Almost, but not yet. Not yet. Because timing matters. And patience was still working. You know what's dangerous about keeping your mouth shut? People start confusing your silence with agreement. The week after Jordan asked me about moving out, Danielle changed. Not dramatically. Worse. Subtly. Too subtly. People trying to hide something usually overcorrect. People feeling confident they relax. Danielle relaxed, which meant she stopped being careful. Saturday morning, Ava and I made pancakes. Actual successful pancakes this time. No smoke detector involvement, no accidental chemistry experiments. Progress. "Grandpa," Ava said while pouring syrup aggressively enough to concern medical professionals. "Mom says too much sugar makes people crazy. Your grandmother Eleanor ate cheesecake at 10 o'clock at night." "What happened?" "She married me." Ava laughed. Jordan laughed. Even Danielle smiled. Small moment. Warm moment. Real. And somehow that made what happened later hurt worse. Because life does that. It reminds you good things exist right before showing how fragile they are. Sunday afternoon, Danielle's mother came over. Patricia Reed, 63. Retired dental office manager. Neat haircut. Perfect posture. The kind of woman who folded gift wrapping paper to save it. We got along. Mostly, not close, but polite. Patricia believed strongly in 3 things: organization, planning, and people using coasters. Especially coasters. Lenny came too, because I invited him. Important detail. Very important. "Why am I here?" Lenny asked when he walked in. "Free food." "You're lying." "Little bit." "Should I be worried?" "Not yet." "Marcus." "Lenny. You smile like that before bad ideas." "Relax. I never relax." "True, completely true. Danielle made meatloaf, green beans, mashed potatoes, dinner rolls. Jordan grilled chicken too, because apparently modern families prepare backup entrees now. Fine, whatever. We all sat down around 6:20. Normal, ordinary. Ava talking about school, Patricia talking about neighbors, Jordan talking about work, Lenny criticizing professional football scheduling. Same as always. Until Danielle did something interesting. She brought it up, not me. Her. Courtroom lesson 139. Guilty people love controlled environments. They think preparation equals safety. "Marcus," Danielle said casually. "Yeah." "Did you ever look at those apartment listings?" Jordan froze. "Tiny, but I saw it." Patricia glanced up. Lenny stopped chewing. "Interesting. Very interesting." "No," I said. "Oh. Should I have?" "I just wondered." "You wondered?" "Yeah. Why?" "No reason." Courtroom lesson 141. People rarely mention things accidentally, especially not topics they're actively managing. Jordan shifted slightly. Uncomfortable. Dangerous sign. Ava kept eating. Oblivious. Thank God. Patricia smiled politely. "Independent communities can be wonderful," Patricia said. "Ah, there it was. Not spontaneous. Prepared. Discussed. Interesting." "Can they?" I said. "Oh, absolutely. You've visited many. Friends. Friends. People our age need flexibility." "Our age. Interesting." I looked toward Danielle. She wouldn't look at me. Jordan suddenly took a drink. Too quickly. Water nearly went down wrong. My son. 42 years old. Terrible liar. Always had been. "You know what's funny?" Lenny said suddenly. "Dangerous. Very dangerous. I knew that tone. Lenny only used that tone before chaos." "What?" Danielle asked carefully. "Marcus lived in one place 43 years. Silence. Hard habit to break. Patricia smiled politely. "Life changes." "Sure does," Lenny said. Jordan stared at his plate. Danielle adjusted her napkin. Pressure. Tiny pressure. Growing. Good. Not because I enjoyed it. Because truth likes pressure. Pressure exposes cracks. Danielle smiled. Professional smile. Controlled smile. I just think planning matters. Planning matters, I agreed. Exactly. You've been planning a lot lately. Silence. Tiny, fast, but there. What does that mean? Danielle asked. Nothing. No? You said it. I said planning matters. Marcus. Danielle. Lenny suddenly reached for another dinner roll. Smart man, avoiding shrapnel. You know, Danielle said carefully, sometimes change creates opportunity. Opportunity. Interesting. That word again. Opportunity. My room. Her office. Opportunity. Jordan looked exhausted. Actually exhausted, I noticed. Pay attention to this next part, because important things don't always happen during arguments. Sometimes they happen when someone gets tired enough to stop acting. How's business? Jordan asked Danielle. Good, son. Trying. Always trying. Good, Danielle said. Busy. That's good. I could be doing more? Jordan nodded. You are doing a lot. I mean, financially. There, interesting. Very interesting. Patricia jumped in immediately. Her work deserves more room. Too fast. Prepared. Practiced. Jordan looked confused. Just slightly. Good. Very good. Because confusion means expectation and reality started arguing. My setup isn't ideal, Danielle continued. I know, Jordan said. I've told you. Yeah? If I had dedicated space, silence. Jordan slowly looked at her. Slowly. Tiny. But real. Dangerous? Very dangerous. Because suddenly he heard it. Not fully, not completely, but enough. Enough to notice, enough to wonder. Courtroom lesson 147. People recognize truth fastest when they hear familiar pressure repeated too many times. Danielle? Jordan said quietly. What? Can we not do this? Do this. Interesting phrase, meaning this conversation existed before. Good, very good. I was just talking, Danielle said. Mom, I'm serious. I know. No, Jordan. I know. Silence, beautiful silence. Not because I enjoyed watching discomfort, because reality had entered the room. Finally. Patricia stepped in, trying to help, actually making it worse. Common parenting mistake. Jordan, Patricia said gently, your father deserves independence too. Jordan blinked, looked at me, then Danielle, then Patricia. Puzzle pieces, slowly moving. Stay with me here. This matters. Because my son wasn't stupid. He was overwhelmed. Different thing entirely. Who's talking about Dad leaving? Jordan asked quietly. Nobody answered. Bad sign. Very bad sign. Lenny picked up his water. Looked at me. Didn't say a word. Didn't need to. Courtroom lesson 153. Silence after a direct question tells stories words cannot. Danielle? Jordan asked. I just think eventually... Eventually what? We need plans. What plans? Jordan. No. First interruption. Interesting. My son, finally. What plans? Danielle looked uncomfortable. Actually uncomfortable. First time. First real time. We talked about this, she said quietly. No. We did. No. Danielle. Silence. Hard silence. Heavy silence. Dangerous silence. Then Ava broke it, because children accidentally save adults all the time. Grandpa. Yeah, kid. Can you make pancakes tomorrow? Everyone looked at her. Absolutely. Chocolate chips. Deal. Real chocolate chips. No expired ingredients. She smiled. Big, missing front tooth. Beautiful. Jordan smiled too. For a second, just 1 second, everything softened. Then Danielle made her mistake. Big mistake. Greedy people become impatient right before they become obvious. I just don't think this setup works forever. Setup, not family. Setup. Jordan looked at her. Really looked. Slowly. And for the first time, I think my son realized something important. The conversation he thought had started recently had been happening much longer than he knew. And later that night, he knocked on my bedroom door, alone. There are moments in life when you realize a situation is no longer emotional. It's structural, like finding a crack in your ceiling. You can argue about how it got there. You can blame weather, time, pressure. But eventually you stop debating and start figuring out whether the roof is going to hold. Jordan knocked on my door at 9:42 that night. 3 soft knocks, pause, then 1 more. Same knock pattern he'd used since he was 14. Funny what survives adulthood. "Come in," I said. My bedroom door opened slowly. Jordan stood there wearing sweatpants and an old Ohio State hoodie. Hands in pockets, tired, very tired. "Hey," he said. "Hey. You awake?" "No." He almost smiled, almost. "Can I sit?" "Sure." He sat in the chair near the window. Silence, real silence. Not conflict silence, not avoidance silence. Thinking silence, dangerous silence. "What happened downstairs?" he asked quietly. "At dinner? You tell me?" "Dad?" "No." "Marcus." I raised an eyebrow. "Oh, we're using first names now." "Don't." "Sorry." Small smile. Gone quickly. Jordan rubbed his forehead. "Something feels weird." There it was. Not realization. Not yet. Instinct. Human instincts work hard before logic catches up. "You think?" I said quietly. "Dad?" "No." "You know something." "I know lots of things." "Stop." "Jordan." "Dad." Silence. Long, heavy. Then, "Danielle wouldn't intentionally hurt you." Not question, statement, defense, reflex. I leaned back slowly. "You sure?" "Yes." "Completely." "She's stressed." "Interesting. Again, stress." Courtroom lesson 161. People excuse repeated behavior when admitting intent feels too painful. "Jordan," I said quietly. "Yeah. You ever fix an HVAC system where people ignored warning signs too long?" He blinked. "What?" "Answer." "Yes." "What happens?" "Depends." "No." "Dad, what happens?" Silence. Then, "Usually things break worse." Silence again. "You think Danielle's lying?" Jordan said quietly. Not asking anymore. Testing. Carefully. Dangerously. "I think Danielle wants something." "What?" "You know?" "No." "You do?" "No." I looked toward the picture frame near my bed. Eleanor, beach vacation, Outer Banks, wind blowing her hair sideways. Smile, impossible to forget. "You know what your mother used to say?" I asked quietly. Jordan exhaled. "Dad?" "She used to say avoiding hard conversations creates harder conversations." Silence. Long silence. Then, "You're not answering." "No." "Why?" "Because you're not ready." Anger flashed. Tiny, fast, rare. "I'm 42. "I know." "I'm not a child." "I know." "Then stop treating me like one." Good, emotion, real emotion. Progress." "I spent 36 years listening to people talk," I said quietly. "Okay. And one thing I learned." "What?" "When somebody already knows the answer." Silence. "They stop asking different questions." Jordan stared, long, hard. Then slowly, very slowly, he stood. "You know something." I didn't answer. He nodded once. Tight, controlled. "Huh." Then he walked out. Door closed softly. Not slammed, soft. Worse, way worse. I didn't sleep much. Again. At 5:18 a.m., I sat downstairs drinking coffee. Dark roast, black. Quiet house. My phone sat beside me. Recording still there. 11 minutes. 42 seconds. I opened it, closed it, opened it, closed it. Truth feels heavier before you use it. Lenny called around 8:30. How bad? Depends. Marcus. Jordan's asking questions. Good. Maybe. No maybe. People break. People heal too. You sound inspirational. You sound annoying. Fair. Silence. Then, you backing that recording up? Already did. Where? Cloud. Good. USB. Good. Email. Good. You. Excellent. You're very invested. I watched you survive Eleanor dying. Silence. I don't like people hurting my friends. Some men say emotional things indirectly. That's okay, counts the same. Thanks, I said quietly. Yeah. Then you call Rebecca. I looked up. Interesting. Very interesting. Rebecca Holloway, attorney, 64, family law, estate law. Worked legal circles around Franklin County for years. We crossed paths constantly back when I worked transcription. Smart, sharp, dangerous in court. Good person. I don't need lawyers. No. Then why call? Because you're emotional. I'm not emotional. Marcus? I'm not. You absolutely are. No. You listening to recordings at 5 in the morning? Silence. Annoying, man. Very annoying. I'll think about it. No. What? You'll call. You're bossy. I'm correct. Thursday afternoon I drove downtown. Not because I fully agreed, because experience taught me something. Information first. Emotion second. Rebecca's office sat near East Broad Street. Brick building, 3rd floor, small, professional. Minimal decorations, same as always. Receptionist recognized me immediately. Marcus Washington. Still alive? Good to hear. Encouraging greeting. Rebecca came out herself. Gray blazer, sharp eyes, exactly remembered. Marcus. Rebecca. You look older. You look expensive? Good. Rude. She smiled, still dangerous. Her office smelled like coffee and paper. Familiar, comforting. Some places remind you who you used to be. What's wrong? Rebecca asked. Direct. No small talk. Lawyers? I told her. Everything. Living situation, pressure, conversations, Jordan, Danielle. The room, the recording, everything. She listened. No interruptions. Important quality. When I finished, silence. Professional silence. Different from courtroom silence. Heavier. You recorded the conversation legally, she asked. One-party consent. Good. I know. You backed it up. Yes. Good. I know. You still organize files alphabetically? Rebecca? Marcus? Small smile. Gone quickly. Then, has Danielle touched finances? No. Mail. I paused. Thought. Actually thought. Then remembered something. 3 weeks earlier. Insurance paperwork. Medicare supplement notice. Late arrival. Strange. Very strange. Maybe, I said quietly. Rebecca leaned forward immediately. What maybe? I got mail late. What mail? Insurance. Late how? Week? You check forwarding? No. Check. I don't think Marcus. Dangerous lawyer voice. I said check. Interesting, very interesting. 30 minutes later, computer open accounts pulled up address information reviewed. I felt cold. Not angry. Cold. Mail forwarding preferences changed. Supplement insurance correspondence redirected digitally. Not removed, redirected. Authorized online. Without my knowledge. Without permission. Silence. Rebecca looked at me carefully. Marcus. Yeah. Do not confront anybody. I'm not. Good. I wasn't planning to. Good. Rebecca. Yeah. Why? She didn't answer immediately. Lawyers notice timing. I notice timing too. Finally, because somebody trying to manage your living situation should not have access to your information. Silence. Heavy silence. Important silence. Stay with me here. Because something changed inside me right then. Up until that moment, part of me still believed Danielle was stressed, overwhelmed, impatient, flawed, human. Now something felt different. Because pressure explains selfishness. Pressure doesn't explain crossing lines. Rebecca printed documents, handed them over. You need copies. Okay. And Marcus. Yeah. Whatever happens next. She looked directly at me. Do not use truth as revenge. I frowned. What? Use it as protection. Big difference. Very big difference. I drove home slowly. Traffic near downtown Columbus crawling like always. Radio off. Mind loud. Very loud. By the time I pulled into the driveway, I knew two things. First, I wasn't helpless. Not even close. Second, whatever happened next had to happen carefully. Because now this wasn't just about my room anymore. Not even close. There's a moment before storms hit when everything gets strangely quiet. Not peaceful. Quiet. Like the world pulls in one long breath and waits. That Friday night felt like that. Jordan texted me around 4:12 p.m. Can we talk tonight? All of us. 14 words. No emoji, no extra explanation. Which told me everything. Jordan used extra words when he was comfortable. Short messages meant stress. I stared at the phone for almost 30 seconds. Not because I didn't know what was coming, because I did. I texted back. Of course, no drama, no warning, no hint. Experience teaches restraint. Restraint teaches timing. Timing changes outcomes. Dinner happened quietly. Too quietly. Danielle made baked chicken, rice, roasted vegetables. Nobody talked much. Ava carried conversation responsibilities like a 9-year-old United Nations ambassador. Grandpa. Yeah, kid. You still owe me chocolate chip pancakes. I remember. Real chocolate chips. You've become very demanding. I'm growing. Fair point. Jordan barely touched his food. Danielle overcompensated. Too cheerful, too helpful. People preparing for confrontation sometimes become strangely polite. Courtroom lesson 172. Watch behavior changes before difficult moments. They're usually louder than words. At 7:03 p.m. Jordan cleared his throat. Ava. Yeah. You want to go finish your science project upstairs? Why? Because. That's suspicious. My granddaughter. Sharp. Too sharp. Please, Danielle said gently. Ava looked around the table. Something in children recognize as emotional weather. Always has. Okay. She stood, grabbed her tablet, walked halfway upstairs, stopped, turned back. Grandpa. Yeah? You promised pancakes. I know. Don't forget. I won't. She nodded. Gone. Silence. Real silence. Heavy silence. Lenny sat beside me, arms folded, quiet. I'd invited him. Again. Not because I needed backup, because sometimes hard conversations deserve witnesses. Jordan sat at the dining table, hands clasped, Danielle beside him. Patricia Reed sat near the kitchen. Invited. Interesting. Very interesting. Courtroom lesson 180. People invite support when they expect resistance. Jordan exhaled slowly. Dad. Yeah. I think we need honesty. There it was. Funny thing about honesty. People usually ask for it when they're certain it'll support them. I agree, I said. Jordan nodded. Good. Things feel tense. Okay. Communication feels off. Okay. Danielle shifted slightly. Jordan noticed. Tiny. Important. I think we've all been avoiding conversations, Jordan said carefully. True. Completely true. Dangerous thing about truth. Even partial truth opens doors. I agree, I said again. Jordan looked relieved. Expected resistance. Didn't get it. Interesting. Very interesting. I think maybe we need clarity, he said. About what? Silence. Then, living arrangements. There, finally. No hiding. No soft language. Real words. Good, very good. Danielle jumped in carefully. Marcus, no. Jordan looked surprised. Danielle froze. First interruption. Purposeful. You said honesty, I said quietly. Jordan nodded slowly. Okay. Good. I leaned back, looked directly at my son. Jordan. Yeah. Did I tell you I wanted to move? Silence. No. Did I ask for apartments? No. Did I say I wanted independent living? No. Silence growing. Pressure building. Good. Jordan looked toward Danielle. Small movement. Dangerous movement. I thought, Danielle started. No, I said quietly. Marcus? No. Patricia shifted uncomfortably. Lenny remained silent. Professional level silence. Proud of him. Danielle said, Jordan started. I know what Danielle said. Then, no. Jordan rubbed his forehead. Stress, big stress. Somebody explain something, he said quietly. Nobody moved. Nobody spoke. Dangerous? Very dangerous. Courtroom lesson 186. Silence after direct questions usually means one person already knows the answer. They're just hoping somebody else says it first. I think everybody wants the best outcome, Danielle said carefully. There, corporate language. Human resources vocabulary. Always dangerous. What outcome? Jordan asked. Long term. What outcome? Jordan. What outcome? Interesting. My son, finally. Pressure changing things. Good. Not because I enjoyed it, because reality requires friction sometimes. The business, Danielle started. Jordan closed his eyes. Actually closed his eyes. Danielle. I need space. There it is. What? There it is. Silence. Jordan. No. Voice different. Lower, tired. Dangerously tired. You told me Dad wanted to move. Silence. Patricia looked down. Interesting. Very interesting. You said he mentioned it. Silence. You said he'd been thinking about it. Silence. Courtroom lesson 192. Truth struggles. Lies calculate. I thought, Danielle started. No. Jordan looked at her directly. Longer this time. Harder. No escape route. Dangerous. Very dangerous. You said Dad brought it up? I misunderstood. Tiny mistake. Huge mistake. Misunderstood. Meaning earlier certainty suddenly disappeared. Jordan noticed. I watched him notice. That mattered. I misunderstood, Danielle repeated. No, you didn't. We all knew. She knew. I knew. Jordan knew. And worst of all, I think Danielle knew Jordan knew. I think everybody needs to calm down, Patricia said carefully. No, Jordan said quietly. First time, first real time. No. Silence. Sharp. Unexpected. My son hated conflict. Always. But pressure changes people, especially good people pushed too far. Dad, Jordan looked at me. Finally. Really looked. Not stressed, not distracted, present, dangerous. What aren't you telling me? There it was. The moment. Not climax. Not yet. Closer. Much closer. I looked at Danielle. She looked terrified. Actually terrified. Not angry, not defensive. Scared. Interesting. Very interesting. Because somewhere finally she realized something. I wasn't cornered. I wasn't confused. And I wasn't helpless. Marcus, Danielle said quietly, voice shaking slightly. First time. You said honesty. I looked at Jordan. Yeah, he whispered. I did. I nodded slowly, reached into my pocket. Phone. Simple movement, small movement. World-changing movement. Jordan frowned slightly. Danielle went pale. Instantly. Pay attention to this next part. Because some moments arrive slowly, then suddenly. Marcus, Danielle said. Too quickly. Dangerous. Very dangerous. Jordan looked at her. Then me. Then my phone. Silence. House completely quiet. Dishwasher off. Television off. Wind outside. Nothing else. I need you to understand something, I said quietly. Jordan stared. Lenny leaned back slowly. Patricia looked confused. Danielle looked terrified. Good. Not because fear felt satisfying, because truth was finally entering the room. You said honesty matters, I said quietly. Jordan nodded. I agree. I unlocked my phone, opened recordings, 11 minutes, 42 seconds, saved, protected, backed up, safe. Danielle stood suddenly. Too fast. Way too fast. Marcus, Jordan turned toward her. Slowly, dangerously. Why? He whispered. No answer. Important. Very important. Danielle? Silence. Why? Nothing. House holding one long breath. Storm finally arriving. And that's when Danielle Washington made the mistake that ended everything. She looked directly at me and said, he's confused. Silence. 1 heartbeat, 2, 3. Then I pressed play. People imagine revenge feels loud, triumphant, victorious, like movie scenes, like dramatic music, like somebody finally getting exactly what they deserve. Real life doesn't work that way. Real life sounds like a quiet kitchen, a tired man holding a phone, and 11 minutes, 42 seconds. I pressed play. At first, nobody moved, nobody breathed. Just my voice. Calm, steady, older. Strange hearing yourself through speakers. Feels like listening to somebody you know but don't fully trust. Then Danielle's voice. Clear, sharp, controlled. We've been thinking long term. Jordan froze. Actually froze. Not emotionally. Physically. Courtroom lesson 201. Human beings become very still when reality arrives faster than denial can process it. Nobody interrupted. Nobody could. Danielle stared at the table. Patricia slowly lifted one hand toward her mouth. Lenny leaned back quietly, watching, not smiling, not satisfied, just watching. Recording continuing. The house feels crowded. Jordan blinked, slow, heavy recording. My business matters. Recording. We need more space. Recording. I think it would be best if you moved out by next month. Jordan inhaled sharply. Not dramatic, worse. Quiet. Like somebody hit him somewhere invisible. Danielle finally moved. Jordan, no. Single word. Soft, dangerous. Very dangerous. Recording kept playing. Jordan hates conflict. Silence. I think he'd choose peace. Jordan closed his eyes. No anger, no yelling. Worse. Disappointment. Pure disappointment. Patricia whispered quietly, "Oh my God." Nobody answered. Recording. You'll tell Jordan this was your idea. Silence. Hard silence. Heavy silence. Recording. He'll take it better. Jordan opened his eyes slowly. Looked toward Danielle. Not confused anymore. Not uncertain. Not defending. Just looking. Which somehow felt worse than anger. Recording ended. 11 minutes, 42 seconds. Silence. Real silence. Nobody moved. House completely still, even Cooper. Dog lying near the refrigerator, head up, watching. Probably concerned humans had finally lost their minds. Fair concern. Jordan, Danielle whispered. Nothing. Jordan, nothing. Please. Nothing. Stay with me here. Because this matters. The loudest pain I've ever seen wasn't crying, wasn't screaming, wasn't rage. It was watching my son realize he'd failed to protect somebody he loved, me, and himself. I can explain, Danielle said quietly. No, wrong sentence. Very wrong sentence. Jordan finally spoke, voice low, controlled, dangerously controlled. You lied. Jordan, you lied. I didn't. You lied. 3 words, repeated, different every time. Courtroom lesson 209. Truth doesn't need creativity. Lies do. I was trying to help, Danielle said. No. I was overwhelmed. No. My business. No. Tears now. Real tears. Interesting. Important. Because this part matters. Danielle wasn't evil. She wasn't some movie villain. She wasn't cruel for fun. She was human. Human and wrong. Human and selfish. Human and convinced she was justified. Which honestly sometimes causes more damage. I felt trapped, Danielle whispered. Jordan laughed. One sharp sound. No humor, just disbelief. Trapped. Jordan. My father pays rent. Silence. My father cooks. Silence. My father helps Ava. Silence. My father fixes everything in this house. Silence. My father lost Mom. Silence. My father moved here because I asked him. Danielle crying harder now. Patricia quietly stood, walked toward her daughter. Hand on shoulder. Mother instinct. Protect. Always. Even when wrong. Jordan, Patricia said softly. No. Voice stronger. First time. No. Patricia stopped talking. Interesting. Very interesting. Jordan looked at me. Finally. Really? Dad? Just that, Dad. No defense, no explanations, no excuses, just one word. I nodded. Slow, steady, because I understood. Courtroom lesson 216. People don't always betray you intentionally. Sometimes they betray you by failing to see clearly. Jordan swallowed hard, looked down, hands shaking slightly. I noticed. Parents always notice. I should have listened, he whispered. No. That hurt worse, way worse. Because suddenly my son looked 10 years old again. Not 42, 10, small, lost, trying. Dad, it's okay. No. Jordan, no. Voice cracked, actually cracked. I asked you to move here. I know. I should have. Jordan. No response. I know. Silence. Then something happened nobody expected. Danielle stood, walked toward me. Not dramatic, slow, careful. Hands shaking, eyes red, real, completely real. I am sorry, she whispered. No excuses. Interesting. Very interesting. I know, I said quietly. No. Voice breaking. No, you don't. Silence. I told myself things. No answer. I told myself it made sense. Silence. I told myself we'd fix it later. Silence. I told myself. She stopped. Couldn't finish. Good. Not because pain felt satisfying. Because honesty had finally arrived. Late. Very late. But real. I changed the mail settings, she whispered quietly. Patricia looked confused. Jordan slowly turned. Dangerous. Very dangerous. What? I changed insurance notifications. Jordan stared. No. I thought, no. I wasn't trying. Danielle. Voice flat now. Completely flat. Scariest voice in the world. Controlled disappointment. I fixed it back, she whispered. When? Silence. When? Yesterday. Yesterday. Interesting. After pressure. After questions. After risk. Not before. Jordan sat down slowly. Chair creaking beneath him. 42 years old. Looking exhausted enough to be 80. I don't know who you've been lately, he whispered. Silence. Danielle crying. Patricia crying now too. Lenny sitting quietly. Me nothing. No victory, no satisfaction. Just tired. Very tired. Because winning doesn't erase hurt. Winning doesn't restore trust. Winning doesn't give you back the moment somebody decided you mattered less than convenience. Ava appeared halfway down the stairs. Nobody noticed at first. Small feet, blue pajamas, quiet. Mom. Silence. Jordan stood instantly. Ava. Too late. She saw enough. Children always do. What's happening? She whispered. Nobody answered. Dangerous. Very dangerous. Then Danielle cried harder. Worst possible answer. Ava looked at me, terrified. Grandpa. I'm okay. You sure? Yeah. You promise? I promise. She nodded slowly, not convinced, but trying, like children do. Jordan walked upstairs with her. Quiet, gentle, good father. Still. Always. Silence downstairs. Long silence. Then Lenny finally stood, adjusted his jacket, looked toward Danielle, then Patricia, then me. You know, he said quietly. Nobody answered. Marcus spent years listening to people tell partial truths. Silence. Problem with partial truths. Silence. They grow. Nobody spoke. Lenny looked toward me, small nod, friend nod. 41 years worth. Then walked toward the door. Call me later. I will. Door closed. Quiet. Just me, Danielle, Patricia. Broken trust sitting at the kitchen table beside us. And somewhere upstairs, my son was trying to explain something to a little girl without breaking her idea of family. Winning didn't feel good. It felt heavy. And somehow that hurt most of all. People think endings arrive like doors closing, clean, final, obvious. Truth is, endings usually sound more like dishes in the sink the next morning. Coffee brewing. A house trying to remember how to exist after something important breaks. The morning after everything came apart, I woke up at 5:41. Habit, age, worry, take your pick. The house felt different, not louder, quieter, heavy quiet, the kind that settles into walls. I walked downstairs. Coffee, black, no sugar. Same mug Eleanor bought me in 2009. World's okayest husband. She had a twisted sense of humor. I appreciated that. Still do. Jordan sat at the kitchen table, already awake, already dressed, hands wrapped around untouched coffee, dark circles under his eyes. My son hadn't slept. I knew immediately. Dad? Morning. Silence. Real silence. Not angry, not defensive. Tired. Very tired. I made coffee, he said. Tastes terrible. Small smile. Gone quickly. No. Good. Silence, long. Then, I'm sorry. There it was, simple, direct, no excuses, no explanations, just pain. Dad, it's okay. No. Voice breaking, again, no. I sat down. Slowly. Old knees negotiating terms. You don't have to protect me, Jordan whispered. I know. I failed. No? I did. No. I should have seen it. Maybe, maybe not. Life gets complicated. Pressure blinds people. Love blinds people. Fear blinds people. Jordan loved his wife. Jordan loved me. Jordan wanted peace. Good people sometimes make terrible decisions chasing peace. You know what your mother used to say? I asked. Small smile, immediately. Which one? Doing nothing is still doing something. Jordan laughed softly. One broken sound. Yeah. She said it to both of us. Mostly me? True. Silence. Comfortable this time. Different. Healing starts quietly. People don't talk enough about that. Jordan looked down. Danielle left. I nodded slowly. Patricia picked her up around midnight. Silence. She's staying there. Okay? I don't know what happens now. Honest. Good. Honesty matters. I know, I said quietly. You mad at me? No. Hard question, harder answer. I was hurt. Jordan nodded. Oh, I know. I was disappointed. Another nod. I wasn't mad. You should have been. No. Why? Because I knew. Because life teaches things. Because Eleanor taught things. Because grief teaches things. Because age teaches things. People make mistakes. Big mistakes. Terrible mistakes. Sometimes those mistakes reveal character. Sometimes they reveal weakness. Important difference. 3 days later, I signed a lease. Small apartment. Near Upper Arlington. Close enough to visit. Far enough to breathe. 1 bedroom. 3rd floor. Quiet building. Walking distance from a small coffee place. View of trees. Enough. Jordan fought me. Dad. No. You don't have to. Jordan. I mean it. I know. Stay. No. Why? Because some healing needs space too. Because Ava deserved parents figuring things out without me standing in the middle. Because dignity matters. Because staying after everything changed would have slowly turned pain into resentment. Dangerous thing. Resentment. It hardens. Quietly. I moved 2 weeks later. Lenny helped. Mostly by criticizing my packing strategy. You label boxes too much. No such thing. Marcus. Lenny. Your 70% filing cabinet. 80? Fair. Ava cried, hard, real hard. That almost broke me. Grandpa. Yeah, kid. You leaving because of me? No? Promise. Promise. You still making pancakes? Every Saturday. Real chocolate chips. Real chocolate chips. She hugged me so hard my back reminded me I was 68. Worth it. Entirely worth it. Jordan started therapy. Couples counseling too. His decision, not mine. Good decision, hard decision. Important decision. Danielle didn't come back immediately. 6 weeks, 6 long weeks. Then one Thursday afternoon my phone buzzed. Text message. Danielle. First one. Simple. Can we talk 3 words? Heavy words. We met Saturday. Coffee shop, public place, neutral ground. She looked tired, different, not broken. Human. Which somehow felt harder. I've practiced this speech 12 times, she said quietly. That's excessive. Small laugh, gone quickly. I was wrong. I stayed quiet. I kept telling myself practical things. Silence. Space. Silence. Business. Silence. Money. Silence. But none of that was really it. No. She looked down, hands shaking slightly. I was scared. Interesting. Fear. Real answer. Finally. Scared of what? Falling behind. Silence. Scared Jordan would resent me. Silence. Scared we'd fail. Silence. I kept thinking if everything was perfect, we'd be okay. Perfection. Dangerous thing. People destroy beautiful things chasing perfect ones. I hurt you, she whispered. Yeah. I hurt Jordan. Yeah. I hurt Ava. Yeah. Tears. Real tears. Not defense, not performance. Truth. Late, but truth. I don't expect forgiveness. Good. Correct answer. I expect accountability. She nodded immediately. Good. Very good. Jordan deserves better, she whispered. Yes. You deserved better. Silence, then thank you. Interesting. What? For saying that. We talked 41 minutes. No miracles, no perfect ending, no movie music. Life isn't movies. Trust comes back slowly. Sometimes it never fully comes back. That's true too. Jordan and Danielle worked. Counseling, boundaries, honesty, messy, human, real. Ava still came Saturdays. Pancakes, chocolate chips, board games. One memorable disaster involving whipped cream and a dog making terrible life decisions. Cooper survived. Mostly. Lenny still calls twice a week. Still annoying, still loyal. Rebecca Holloway still sends Christmas cards. Still terrifying. Life moved, slowly, carefully, honestly. And me, I learned something. Actually, I remembered something Eleanor used to say. Marcus, people show you who they are when life gets uncomfortable. She was right. Again. Funny how marriage works. 43 years together, and somehow she still wins arguments 7 years after leaving. Life lesson. Here it is. Sometimes people hurt you because they're cruel. But sometimes people hurt you because they're scared, because they're overwhelmed, because they convince themselves that wanting something badly makes it right. It doesn't. Pay attention when people slowly make you feel smaller. Pay attention when peace costs too much. Pay attention when silence starts hurting more than speaking. And if you're the person who made mistakes, own them early. Truth gets heavier the longer you carry it. I also learned something else. Being kind doesn't mean being weak. Being patient doesn't mean being blind. And protecting yourself doesn't make you selfish. Some of you watching this know exactly what I mean. Maybe you've been overlooked, pushed aside, made to feel inconvenient. Maybe someone counted what you cost without remembering what you gave. I need you to understand something. Your value does not shrink because somebody stopped seeing it. Not ever. If this story meant something to you, join our community by hitting that like button and subscribing for more real, raw, and family-centered stories. Drop a comment below and tell us, have you ever been in a situation like this? We read every single one. And as always, thank you for being a part of this.